guys, I Shreeya Katyal welcome you all to today's talk. Today we have our 6th Global Festival of Journalism and we are at Marwah Studios. And with us we have Miss Nicola Phipps, the former BBC journalist. So let's go and talk to her. Hi ma'am, welcome to Marwah Studios. And from where did you begin?
I started when I was at school actually, where I was a very bad student. And the thing that I enjoyed most at school was the school newspaper. And it was as a result of that that I decided that journalism was probably a good route for me. And I went from there to work on our very local newspaper and then did my journalism training and then ended up at the BBC as a postgraduate news trainee, and then from there went on to work in national, international news and then moved to documentary making eventually.
So I must say that you have tremendous experience. So with your experience, now I would like to know that since you are heading a workshop also today, and what is in your mind and what that workshop is about?
I've been asked to run a workshop looking at standards in journalism. That's something I feel very strongly about, because especially these days, everybody thinks they can be a journalist. Everybody is blogging, everybody is communicating on social media, but there are still some essential skills and qualities and qualifications that I think it is very important for journalists to have, because we have a responsibility to make sure there is quality content that's there. And in order for the content to be high quality, the journalist has to be high quality. And for the journalist to be high quality, their training has to be high quality. So we're looking at how those qualities can be achieved through some form of standard that can be set for all journalism training across the whole of India.
So what kind of standards, like can you give a brief about them?
Well, the sort of thing that I would mean would be something like making sure that there is integrity, there are ethical standards that are adhered to, there is an understanding of the need for neutrality. A good journalist should always be looking at both sides of a story, not taking one side, not being partisan. And we would want to ensure that the training that is given encourages and supports those kind of standards, and that also that the students are given really, really good practical experience that links absolutely with the industry and what the industry needs, because there's no point learning journalism as an academic subject. It isn't an academic subject, it's a practical subject. And if you're going to have a job and have a future in the industry, you need to learn the practical skills from people who are practicing those skills.
Indeed, very well said that it is not only about theory, and practical experience is really required. So I have a question in mind. Nowadays, there's a lot of yellow journalism all around. So do you want to comment on that?
I think what you mean by yellow journalism is the sort of what we would call sensationalism, exactly. Sort of media hype, that sort of thing. I find it very difficult because I'm a very serious-minded person in many ways. And I think it's very important that everything that we're reporting has a proper basis in fact, that there is proper evidence to support the stories that we're putting out. And I think social media has increased the amount of gossip and speculation and ill-informed comment that there is around. And that's why I say I think it's even more important than ever that we have good quality journalists who curate the content that's out there and distill from it what is the truth and what is not the truth, and to help people to understand what the stories really are about, rather than just listening to all the waha, that goes around it.
Okay, then there's a lot of sensations are created, and that's what we term yellow journalism, as you said. So how do you verify in these cases, like authenticity? How do you check whenever there's a news?
Well, we were always taught when we were training and all the way through my career that you should always check something from 3 different sources before you can even begin to think that it might be true. So it's whether or not you read it in or see it in 3 different forms of media, reported in different ways, you might get closer to the truth. Or if information is coming into you as a journalist, you find different ways of checking it, so you can verify it from at least 3 different sources. Then if it stands up, then you should print or publish. If you've only got it from one source, you then have to be very careful about what you say and how you say it, because it may not necessarily be true.
True. So, ma'am, finally, after sprinkling lots of knowledge and through your experience, I would like to have some message for the students so that they can also get inspired and head towards a better journalism.
Okay, I would say a good journalist is somebody who has a good nose, who works very hard, and the most important thing is tenacity. And by tenacity, I mean not giving up. You know, believing in what you're doing, having a passion for what you're doing, caring fundamentally about people, about the story, because the stories in the end all come down to ordinary people. A very long time ago, a newspaper editor of mine took me out in the street, and there was a row of houses with front doors, and I thought he was a bit mad. And he said to me, Nicola, he said, you see all those doors? And I said, yes. He said, well, it's your job to find out what's going on behind all of those doors and tell people. And I think that's what journalists are for. This is about ordinary people, ordinary stories, because it doesn't matter if it's the big political story or what it is. Ultimately, it's about people and it's going to affect them. So never lose touch with people and being interested in them.
Thank you, ma'am. Thanks for sharing your views and enlightening us. Journalism is not only about theory, it's more of practical. And standards in journalism is very important. So that's all for till now. I'll be back very soon with another celebrity guest. Till then, you keep watching MSTV. Har pal aapke saath.